Welcome back to AOH Primetime. And of course, someday we're going to have a newsroom and a nightly newscast. I talk about it on every broadcast. Certainly, even if it takes years to get there, that's the goal. In the meantime, what can we do with a television station that has a Roku channel, an Apple TV app, a website, live streaming? Of course, we're very proud of our affiliation with WAKR Radio, where we are simulcasting live, carrying the Ray Horner Morning Show every weekday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And that is a show filled with news, sports, weather, traffic, all kinds of great interviews. Everything Akron is on the Ray Horner Morning Show. Of course, you can listen on the radio, 93.5 FM, 1590 AM, WAKR, of course. And if you can't get it there, you can watch it at WAOH.tv or, of course, on our Roku channel and Apple TV app. But there's a lot happening here at WAOH. And even without a newsroom or a nightly newscast, we can still bring to the forefront the great people and the great things here in Akron and tell stories. And tonight, I want to draw attention to something really great in Akron. We posted a picture of the Freedom Trail where they're adding on to the Freedom Trail between Perkins and where it goes near behind E.J. Thomas, along Quaker Square on the other side of the train tracks from the Quaker Square development. And I posted one picture as our team was out doing a trail ride about the extension of the Freedom Trail from Perkins and Mill Street over to the University Avenue under the University Avenue Bridge near the College of Business Administration, just to extend it, maybe not even a quarter of a mile. And we had about 100 likes and probably 25 or 30 comments about how great this trail system is. Now, a few keyboard warriors get a little angry, drawing out some negative issues, and one negative or problematic situation or something that we need to talk about, of course, is along the Freedom Trail. There's a lot of homeless encampments, a lot of tents. But I will tell you, we go out and ride the Freedom Trail. The WAOH team will sometimes go out for an evening bike ride, or maybe in the afternoon in between shifts or in between story tapings or interview sessions. And we have a true asset with the Towpath Trail and the Summit County MetroParks Freedom Trail. All of it is an incredible asset to our community. And yes, I see the comments that that the homeless encampments are along some of the parts of the trail. But I got to tell you, I've been riding the trail for years, and I have never been approached or threatened by. I got to tell you, they're just living their lives, and I don't know what their circumstances are, and none of us are probably in a position to judge anyone. But how many of us would get up and go volunteer at the Haven of Rest or at any number of other facilities that offer resources, soup kitchens and such? It's very easy to make a negative comment on Facebook. Very difficult to go volunteer and make a difference in your community. With all of that, I'm going to tell a good story, and that is I took the bike out on Saturday, and I did a 40-mile bike ride all over Akron, and then left Akron on the Freedom Trail, rode into Kent, and the Freedom Trail between Akron and Kent involves riding through Talmadge. And there's a really great little Mexican restaurant on the Talmadge Circle there, and they have this passenger car and caboose on a track alongside the Freedom Trail. And of course, many of these trails, if not all of them, had some relationship to transportation. They all have a history lesson. Of course, the Towpath Trail along the Canal is the Towpath Trail. Hopefully, everybody grew up in Akron knows the history of the canal. But the Freedom Trail is the old Erie-Lackawanna rail line, rails to trails, sometimes they call it. And so a lot of the trail has a train theme. And of course, much of it you're riding along the CSX track. So if you're into rail fanning, watching trains, then you're going to like a ride on the trail, the Freedom Trail. You have a lot better chance of seeing a train if you ride near the train tracks, is what I've noticed. So my 40-mile bike ride involved leaving Akron, riding the Freedom Trail into Talmadge, around the Talmadge Circle, and then you ride into Kent. You come out on Middlebury Road. And right there, once you cross into Portage County, it becomes the Portage Bike and Hike Trail. And they're building a new bridge over the CSX tracks at Middlebury Road so that you don't have to ride your bike on Middlebury to make it safer. They're spending money, a lot of money on these trails, and it's beautiful. I highly suggest you go out and enjoy all this. They're just about done with this bridge over the CSX tracks at Middlebury. And then from there, you ride the Portage Bike and Hike Trail along the Cuyahoga River into downtown Kent. And downtown Kent, of course, in my lifetime, is like downtown Akron, where it is completely changed from what it was 20 or 30 years ago. In a good way, but certainly development and, downtown Kent's amazing. And it's a nice place that you can stop and have lunch. And sometimes on the bike rides, what I would do is just turn around and come back to Akron. And that's a 12-mile ride there, 12 miles, 24 miles round trip. It's a great ride. And on Saturday, I decided, sort of impulsively, what if I just went up Hudson Road north out of Kent and caught the Franklin Trailhead, which is the trail that runs into Stowe and Hudson and comes out on Route 8. And that's a heck of a ride. That's another 14 miles right there. And so I decided to do it. And it was early on Saturday. It was lunchtime, maybe 1 o'clock. And I've got the whole day, and it was beautiful. And I thought, what the heck, let's do it. So I go to the Franklin Trailhead, just a 5-10 minute bike ride up Hudson Road. And then I ride the Franklin Trailhead through my old stomping ground of Stowe and Silver Springs Park. And through there, along Fish Creek Road, under Route 91, and then into Hudson. You come out, you do Norton Road, you do Seasons Road. You're riding all through that area, running along Terex Road, and you come out on Route 8. And there's a bridge over Route 8. And that puts you into the Route 303. And I continue north, and there is a section between Route 303 and Boston Mills Road that has incredible rock formations similar to what you would see at Kelly's Island or in Hocking Hills. And it is the most beautiful section of a trail that you could imagine. On a Saturday afternoon in beautiful weather, riding through this valley, this rock formation, and I've lived in this area my whole life, and I spent a good part of my life in Stowe and Hudson and in Peninsula and on these trails, and I don't recall ever riding on this. It is absolutely beautiful. So then I decided, for whatever reason, that I would come down to Peninsula. But I didn't want to go on 303. I continued north on the trail to come up to Boston Mills Road, and I did a little jaunt over to Akron Peninsula Road. And if you know this area, you go down Akron Peninsula Road, and you come out by the Spicy Lamb Sheep Farm. And this is where my friend Laura DeYoung, legendary, I remember almost probably 15 or 20 years ago, when she had this idea and wrote a proposal and a grant to the Cuyahoga Valley Farm Conservancy Program, which is amazing, to set up the Spicy Lamb Sheep Farm. And she won the grant. She got 40 acres, built this incredible place. So I rode by the Spicy Lamb Sheep Farm, and of course, the timing wasn't good. Nobody was there. But shout out to Laura DeYoung and the Spicy Lamb Sheep Farm, and I hope someday we can come back with a camera crew and do a whole story on it. So here's part of the story, is where Akron Peninsula Road dead ends there at the Spicy Lamb Sheep Farm. There is on the map a trail that goes down to Peninsula. But I got to tell you, the road is not there, and the trail is not there. It is washed away, or it's on the map as a trail, but I was on the bike, and it's all downhill from there, because you're up in Boston Heights, let's say, and you just downhill it into Peninsula on this, what is the absence of a trail. And it's like riding through a creek in a way. One of the most adventurous things I've done in quite a while was riding, and I'm out there by myself, and I'm thinking, okay, if I go into one of these ruts here, and the creek bed or the road has washed away, and it's just sand and gravel on a downhill, and I'm on the brakes the whole time, just getting pulled into Peninsula, and lots of fun. but a little scary for a moment. It was an adventure. So I would recommend that you not do this part of the trail. Part of the story is don't use Akron Peninsula Road over to the sheep farm unless you want to say hi to Laura DeYoung at the Spice of Lamb Sheep Farm. I would probably do Boston Mills Road or one of the other trails down to Peninsula, but this is what I did. So I come down to Peninsula just in time to see the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad parked there as they had stopped on their excursion, and all the bikers and all the families. What perfect timing! Again, all of these trails, it's a train theme. Most of it, it's like a train viewing where a bike trail and a bike ride is just an afterthought. It's really about seeing nature and trains, I think. So I caught a little shot here of the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad departing Peninsula, and this is about the part of the day where I've got about 28 miles into this deal, and I'm exhausted. And my rescue driver, the chase car operated by my son Matt, he is on standby when I do these rides, because you never know when I'm just going to say, okay, I've had enough. I got to call my lifeline. So I text my son. I said, okay, you got to check my location. And he sees I'm in Peninsula. And I figured, okay, I'm going to ride south on the Towpath Trail and just see how far I get. So again, it's a beautiful day. I make it to the Merriman Valley. And I got to tell you, I served 3 years at Timber Top in my college days, and I loved it. And we would spend a lot of time in the Merriman Valley. I had not been to where the Brewbakers used to be in the Weather Vane area and behind Liberty Commons and all that. I had not been down there in years. And like downtown Akron and downtown Kent, that place has certainly changed. And of course, all the places I remember are long gone, but there's a couple of cool little restaurants and bars in there. And so my son came down there to meet me, and I was about to be rescued, and I thought, I've made it so far. I've come this far. I decided, as we're sitting there in the place called Mickey's, which is a really cool little spot, a very nice bartender that was willing to listen to my whole story about bike riding, and I was the only one there at that moment, so that was nice. But my son and I are discussing what our plan is, and I said, hey, I'm gonna finish this ride, and of course, he had come down to rescue me, but he's going to get a lunch out of it at this point. So I go all the way to Lock 15. And I love this, that at this point, it becomes a little bit of bar hopping, because along the Towpath Trail, there's the Merriman Valley, of course, there's a bunch of wonderful establishments, but you can go into Lock 15 from the Ohio and Erie Towpath Trail right there by the Muskell store. So there's a little bridge. So my next stop was Lock 15. At this point, I'm wiped out. And Lock 15, this is where I have a late lunch, and my son has the chase car, the company van, so I can throw the bike in the back. So he comes down, has lunch. We have lunch at the Lock 15. And then we're talking again. I said, you know what? Lock 15, all I got to do is get up that hill under the Interbelt overpass and come out in downtown Akron, and I've done it. And so I had a lunch. This is a long break. I mean, could have been a 3.5-hour bike ride. I turned into a 5-hour excursion. And so we come out, after lunch, and I get my bike, and I say, okay, I'll meet you at the studio where we store the bikes here in the building, and made it all the way up the hill, up the Towpath Trail. If you've ever done the Towpath Trail from Lock 15 to Lock 3, you're uphill coming into downtown Akron. There's a reason that there's 12 locks between Lock 15 and Lock 3, is it's uphill. There's a physics lesson, there's a history lesson, there's all kinds of stuff. We'll have Dave Lieberth on to discuss the history of it at some point. That would just be a phenomenal segment. But you can see this piece of video here. Here's the victory lap as I come rolling into downtown Akron. Speaking of Lock 3, there it is. And I come rolling into Akron. And let me tell you something. This is how many days ago, and I am still sore. I've been out riding for a month now. So as soon as the weather broke, as soon as the spirit moved me, I got the bikes out, got them all fixed up, and we've been doing bike rides. But this one pushed the limit. So that's why I get a 15-minute story out of it, because I have a TV station and a primetime talk show, so I get to tell stories, which is tons of fun. But the point to all of it is that our network of trails are an incredible asset to this community. And I would highly recommend that you get out there and enjoy any section of it. I liked pointing out the sections I like. What I left out was one of my favorite sections. I'm hoping that it gets connected in some other way to all the other trails. But the bridge they built behind the old Goodyear Wool headquarters, now the East End development, and they took the old train trestle and turned it into a path, a trail. And that is a very cool ride, but not exactly connected to all these other trails quite yet, but I'm sure they'll get there, as the grand plan is to connect all of these trails. They're out here by Spaghetti Warehouse, just 2 buildings over from where we are. They're going to build a bridge and or a skywalk. There was an amazing illustration that they're going to build this connection between the Freedom Trail and the Ohio Erie Towpath Trail just just to the west of us here. And that will be amazing. So we have so much here in Akron and Summit County, so many hidden gems, so many things that, like people that grow up in New York City that have never seen the Statue of Liberty up close. We have our own Statue of Liberty, our own Central Park. And that is all of the great things like the Towpath Trail and Freedom Trail and all the great things we have in our MetroParks and everything. Get out and enjoy. And then send us pictures. We'll be back with more stories, more great things about Akron, more of Akron According to Dan, as they say, right after this. Stay with us.